Good morning, everybody. It's Cowboy. It is 8:30 a.m. EST, 8:31 actually, and we are looking at apparently a rate cut from the ECB. I looked it up. I could have sworn it said that they left rates unchanged, which would made a lot of sense for the euro to do a god candle instead of heading down. Because usually, you cut rates and different things happen. But we're going to take a look at the charts here and parse that out here in a minute. Just give me a second to look this up. ECB rate decision, June 6th, 2024. Okay, yeah, it's just not updating. But it was expected to cut, certainly. That's what everybody's been saying. So let's see what Forex Factory says. They usually have that data up and running pretty accurately, pretty on time. Okay, so June 6th, 6:15. It says, according to Forex Factory, it says they've left it unchanged. So I'm kind of confused here. So we're going to have to let it play out. It's really odd. One of our Algo Factory members said that the news said, I think he said CNBC or NBC or somebody like that, said they did cut the rate. So we're going to have to, I guess, see how that files in, because I'm getting different reports from different areas. Reasons for a rate cut. Yeah, I mean, they were expected to cut. Decision expected. Yeah, so we'll just have to see how this plays out. They're supposed to talk about it 15, 20 minutes ago. So, I mean, the charts are certainly reflecting that they didn't cut the rate. But CNBC is saying they did. But look at this. You got the euro being stronger, right? So when the euro is stronger, that tends to mean that they were thinking the rate would get cut and they didn't cut the rate, that the actual answer was different than expectation or whatever it is. So, so we'll have to see if CNBC knows what they're talking about or not. I mean, CNBC is a big outlet, and as much as I don't like the mainstream outlets, it's not like they get everything wrong. You have to, usually if it's like, how do I say this? With the news, with mainstream news, the way I look at it is, if they report on something that happened, right, and there's not like a lot of spin or potential for spin or anything behind it, then you can trust what they say more or less. Like, hey, the sun came up today and the sky is blue and rates got cut. Like, these are things that you can kind of trust. So we'll have to see how it plays out. In the meantime, let's take a look at the charts and see why the charts are supporting something where perhaps the rates didn't get cut. So let's share here. I'm just going to zoom in a little bit to let everybody see what the numbers say on the right. But this, for the euro to head up against the dollar, that either means the dollar got weak or the euro got strong. And for the euro to get cut, that means the euro gets weaker. So this God candle that we're seeing is an indication that the rates were expected to be cut and did not get cut, right? The market had priced in a cut with the euro getting weaker, and then it didn't get cut. Now, what may have happened is that the market was attempting to prepare for such a move and overcorrected down. So that could also be the case, and this was just a way for them to try to stabilize price, even though there might be a cut. So it's just hard to say, man. These central banks can do a lot of one of my favorite words, machinations. I mean, this kind of price action from yesterday, this is on the 5-minute chart. And whenever you see price action that looks like this, that's pretty inorganic. These kind of moves where you just have, 20 candles and very, very like one or no pullbacks. That's not normal price action. That's very abnormal. It happens. It happens when like economic events occur. That does happen. It's not to say it's always inorganic, but when it's supposed to be the calm before the storm, when there's supposed to be very little volatility, and you see price just being pushed in one direction with like no pullbacks in a time when there's not a lot of volatility, that means that that's not supposed to happen. So and yeah, excuse me, in the private lab, Although I wish everybody in the private live lab would come talk to me on YouTube during these shows. It makes my life a lot easier. If you're in the private live lab, I might not see you because it's just hard to watch that many screens. But Ray does say that the Dixie is falling, and what might be happening right now and why the euro is popping up next to the Dixie is that because Canada cut rates, I think it was yesterday, and the euro is cutting rates today, that might be an indication that that the U.S. is going to cut rates next. So, and that should be pushing things up in the equities markets. Let's look at the futures here. No, it's not doing that. No, you actually have. Let me see here on the 5-minute chart going back to 6:15. There was a wild candle on the 5-minute, and this is the E-mini futures. Now it might be because the market is not open yet. Price just wagged around in both directions and then it actually got pushed down. So it might be that because this rate announcement was prior to the market open, we're not seeing the price action yet. So we'll have to hold on for that. We'll look at the Dixie, which is the dollar versus other currencies. So I wouldn't call it a dollar strength indicator or a dollar strength indication necessarily because, like, if assets are going up against the dollar is comparatively weak. Really weak. I mean, when I say really, I mean in a real sense, it's weak. However, compared to other currencies right now, it is weak. So it does appear that going back to right as that announcement came out, the Dixie fell. And that might be why we're seeing what's going on with the euro. And all those weird moves with the euro might be that they're trying to find a way to, to show everything up so that when the announcement comes that they're going to cut, that they can keep it from happening. And it's the currency situation is really, really odd right now. And this has to do with just, we've talked about this, and I don't want to go too far into the theory because it's not that functional when it comes to trading. I mean, it's good to know what's going on. The charts should be able to tell you what you need to know. But in the end, the fiat system is just becoming a caricature of itself. There's money that's being printed out of thin air to try to keep the system going. Everything is so incredibly distorted to where they kind of have to make a lot of corrections to keep everything going in a fiat sense. But nobody wants the fiat system to end because, like, it's one of those bittersweet things. Like, the fiat system is a system of control. A lot of people don't like control, but by the same token, all of your very wealthy people are making a lot of money off the system as it is. So they don't want the system to change. And so they just want to get increasingly ready for the system to change before it does, right? So it's one of those, like, kind of complex scenarios. That said, let's see how Bitcoin reacted to the news. It's a little early to take a look at equities just because the market's not open yet. Yeah, that's the biggest reason. Okay, so Bitcoin actually went down. And I think that might have to do with just what Bitcoin is doing. If the dollar got weak and Bitcoin went down, that's actually kind of a opposite of what it should be doing. Although I will say, when the announcement first hit, Bitcoin did pop up, but these are pretty small numbers. The amount that Bitcoin changed, due to this news is relatively small. It popped up based on dollar weakness, and it's already heading back down. And Bitcoin itself does seem to be consolidating and almost like a vertical accumulation here on a low time frame. This is the 5-minute, which you can see is creating this channel upwards. Now, in most currencies, I would look at this as watch out, it's probably going to fall. But with Bitcoin, historically, when you see this channel that's higher, high, lower, low, that's basically a vertical accumulation. And that will be an indication that price is going to rocket up at some point. So we'll see. I mean, it could fall out of this. Nothing always happens, right? Most things happen most of the time, right? You can have a probabilistic scenario, a probabilistic model, but right now, I mean, this is actually a higher time frame than I thought. Let's move to the 30-minute on this. And again, for anybody paying attention with Bitcoin, and I keep saying this, I called Bitcoin heading up like on Sunday, several days ago to Algo Factory. I called that Bitcoin was going to break out. And going back to Sunday, where's that candle? I circled the candle that was like, hey, it's going to go. They have to go up to the 3-hour time frame. I'm on the wrong chart. That's the problem. You'll see a candle that I marked out. And it's okay, good. We're on the daily. So let me head down to, I think it's the 30-minute where I found this candle. Oops. Good. Give me a second. See, that's the 30-minute. It's on the 3-hour. And you'll have to excuse me a little bit if I seem a little tired or whatever. I'm fasting. I haven't eaten in 3 days, which is amazing that I feel as decent as I feel, but I'm a little tired for sure. So if you all remember, I did a bunch of victory laps. I called out this move to the upside here from basically really from about 65,000. I did have this head and shoulders marked out, but really I didn't call this per se until price was about to break out from the head and shoulders. And it was just before it broke out. It was as it broke out of this lower consolidation. I called this move up here. I called the consolidation to this area. Price consolidated, basically it bull flagged down a little bit. And then this candle right here that I marked, and I told everybody when this happened on Sunday, I did a text to Via the Gorilla. I believe I put everything up in Algo Factory, and I eventually, after I put it up in Algo Factory, like a couple of days later, put it up on Twitter. But this candle was the mark because the algos all pinged when this candle happened. And there's a certain kind of candle that happens in combination with the algos that tell me, okay, Bitcoin's ready to break out. So here it is. You go back to my videos all this week, you're going to hear me say this. It's time for Bitcoin to break out. That's why I got into that Solana trade with the crazy risk to reward. So Bitcoin it's just headed straight up right now. I mean, this is on the 3-hour. So if I were to take away this trade here, you can see that this is just like piling upwards. It's higher highs, higher lows. And with Bitcoin, like I said earlier, that tends to be indication that it is about to break out. So, strap in. This is a decent chance that this is going to keep going up. And when this thing breaks out and above the all-time high, there's a decent chance it's just going to God candle up towards 80,000. It might reach a little resistance around 78. That might happen where Bitcoin just kind of pulls this, bam, like that. It might not even pull back like what I drew here, how it pulls back to this, to this area. It might not do that. It might break 74 and just like go straight up. It's quite possible with Bitcoin. And then there have been some comparisons to prior price action where Bitcoin literally, I think, either doubles or triples within like a very short time after the post-halving lull when it breaks the all-time high. So yeah, you're looking at a lot right here. This is going to be an exciting time in crypto. Now, if Bitcoin does hit hard, right? If it God candles up, then there's a decent chance the altcoins might take a little bit of a temporary hit because all money flows to Bitcoin at that point. So this is historically what happens, but it doesn't always happen. A lot of times Bitcoin goes up hard, everything else just goes up hard. So, I wouldn't try to play that. I would sit through that. Personally, I wouldn't try to, if you want to try to play that and you have a system and you're good at it, I'm not saying don't do it. I'm not saying don't do or do anything. You got to do your own research is what you got to do. So then there's the Solana trade, and that's going to be on a different chart. And again, I put this in Algo Factory first, and oh gosh, hopefully it didn't get erased. Not showing on this chart. Well, hopefully I didn't erase everything. It should still be on here. But I have this pretty hard move up Solana trade here. It looks like everything's still populating. So I may have to rebuild that. I might have somehow erased that trade. But Solana, I believe, is going to head up. And let's see if we can pull the graphic up on that trade. Good morning, V.
Hey.
Goober.
What?
Goober. Called yourself Goober today.
I am a goober.
Goober. Get us out of here, bro.
Yeah, listen, guys, look, we're heading over to the private group, and I'll tell you right now, man, you don't want to miss it. You don't want to miss it for anything. Some hot intel coming your way, only exclusively on algofactory.tech for less than the price of a bottle of water, $1.66 per day. You can join the most prolific trading organization on God's green earth. Make it happen for yourself. Create that secondary source of income in the storm. With that being said, Cowboy, let's get into it.